Mehmed uttered a cry of triumph. Victory at last was in his grasp. He leapt forward from the moat and shouted to his janissaries, "The city is ours! It is ours already! See, there is no one left to defend it! Fear not! Follow me! The city is ours!" The reply was a frenzied howling, and a furious wave struck the wall. Nothing will ever equal the horror of this harrowing and terrible spectacle. People frightened by the shouting ran out of their houses and were cut down by the sword before they knew what was happening, and some were massacred in their houses where they tried to hide, and some in churches where they sought refuge. The enraged Turkish soldiers gave no quarter. When they had massacred and there was no longer any resistance, they were intent on pillage and roamed through the town, stealing, disrobing, pillaging, killing, raping, taking captive men, women, children, old men, young men, monks, priests, people of all sorts and conditions. There were virgins who awoke from their troubled sleep to find those brigands standing over them with bloody hands and faces full of abject fury. These frantic brutes stormed into their houses, dragged them, tore them, forced them, dishonored them, raped them at the crossroads, and made them submit to the most horrible outrages. Old men of venerable appearance were dragged by their white hair and piteously beaten. Tender children were brutally snatched from their mothers' breasts, and girls were pitilessly given up to strange and horrible unions, and 1,000 other terrible things happened. Temples were desecrated, ransacked and pillaged. Sacred objects were scornfully flung aside. The holy icons and the holy vessels were desecrated. Ornaments were burnt, broken in pieces, or simply thrown into the streets. Saints' shrines were brutally violated in order to get out the remains, which were then thrown to the wind. Chalices and cups for the celebrations of the Mass were set aside for their orgies, or broken, or melted down, or sold. All the most holy hiding places were violated and broken in order to get out the holy treasures which they contained. Amongst all these outrages, the profanation of Saint Sophia stood out. In the great church, an immense crowd was assembled, praying despairingly. The famous bronze doors had been closed, and full of anguish, all awaited the imminent arrival of their conquerors. Suddenly, violent blows shook and broke down the doors, and a tide of blood-covered brutes swept into the holy place. Here, they said to themselves as they looked about, "Fortune awaits us." In an instant, all who were young, good-looking and healthy were stripped, despoiled and herded. High-born women, young and gentle girls of noble family, now naked under their long hair, fell thus into slavery. With blows and kicks they were herded outside into long columns to be led to a shameful fate and to all the extremities of the Islamic world. When Mehmed saw the ravages, the destruction, and the deserted houses, and all that had perished and become ruins, then a great sadness took possession of him, and he repented the pillage and all the destruction. Tears came to his eyes, and sobbing, he expressed his sadness. What a town this was! We have allowed it to be destroyed. His soul was full of sorrow, and in truth it was natural. So much did the horror of the situation exceed all limits.